Welcome to the richness of our lives. I'm Mary Scott, and this is where we celebrate the wisdom, courage, and stories that shape us. Every 2 weeks, I sit down with entrepreneurs, coaches, and remarkable people who've walked through fire and come out transformed. This isn't just about success. It's about the richness of the human experience. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive deep. Welcome to the Richness of Our Lives podcast. I'm your host, Mary Scott, and today our guest resides in Florida. She is a book coach, a ghostwriter, and an author, and an absolute delight. Please welcome Sally Lotz. Hello, Sally.
Hi there. Thank you. I'm an absolute delight. That's
You
that's quite
are.
a compliment. Thank you.
Well, I talk to a lot of people, and I find you quite refreshing, and we've only just kicked off. So
All right.
lovely to have you here. So, writing, what is it about writing, Sally, that switches you on?
I feel like I can just get into a different space in my mind and just is it's weird. Like I can see and images when I'm writing, and they just come out of me once I start writing. So it can also be cathartic depending on what I'm writing. But I just find joy in writing things that other people will read and connect to and have a change in their life or see something in a different way or spark an imagination, something like that.
That's marvelous, isn't it? What got you
Yeah.
into writing? I love all those, what should I say? I was going to say results, but they're the benefits of writing is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Um, Well, I started writing when I was a little kid. I used to write plays for me and my sisters, and I also directed them and
I bet that
did
was the
all the
fun.
choreography. Yeah. So that was fun. But I actually didn't really start seriously writing until I was in my very early 40s. I didn't really pick it up and realize that it was something that I had a talent for and could really do and could enjoy.
And you've written quite a few books, and you're about to release another one. Is that correct? Tell us about some of your books.
Yeah, I've written three picture books. So those are books for small children that usually adults read to them. I've written a novel for young adults. I'm in a couple of anthologies. I've written short stories, and those are all adult level. But I do have two books that are in the pre-publishing stage, which means my literary agent is looking for a publisher to buy them, and then they will be published. So I have two middle grade, which is junior high age books that I'm waiting.
That
Just
sounds
waiting,
wonderful.
waiting, waiting.
Yes. How long does that process take, or is it as long as it takes, I suppose?
It can be different for every person, every book. Your book could land in your manuscript could land in somebody's inbox, and that's exactly what they're looking for that day. And boom, it's sold. One of my current books right now, it's probably on its seventh year, but it
Wow.
had a lot of ups and downs.
So,
So it just depends. Just depends. My picture books were rather quick, but then I shifted gears and started writing for older kids, and so that's a different process. That's a whole novel.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Are you able to give us a sneak preview of one in particular?
The one book that I'm very, I would say, proud and excited, and it's called The Truth is a Lie. And that was a book that it has a long sordid history of how I eventually ended up publishing it myself, independently publishing it. And then my agent happened to read it, and she wanted to represent me, and she wanted to sell that book um, instead of it being on Amazon. So off it came. But the book is my young adult novel, and it is what I call uh, truth turned into fiction. No, I'm sorry, fiction turned into a nonfiction. I don't even know what it is. It's my life. It's a true story, but I turned it into fiction. That's where I was going. But because I write for young adults, they don't read memoirs. They don't read, autobiographies or biographies unless it's somebody famous. And this story was about my life growing up in a cult and how I was able to see the lies of what they call the truth. And I was actually kicked out of the house when I was 16, almost 17. And that's what my book is about. It's about that phase in my life.
Wow. You got,
Yeah.
let's go back a little bit, back up a bit. You got kicked out of home, I presume, out of house.
hmm
For what?
So, my family, my mother, my stepfather, and my siblings, they were Jehovah's Witnesses. So, my mom converted over to that when I was 6 years old. And it's a very fearful cult. You're not really allowed to do anything with people who are outside of that organization. It's very closed off. However, the appearance on the outside is very happy. And yes, we love everyone, but it's not really what it is. And around the time, I think I was about 15, the end of my junior year, middle of my junior year in high school, that's 11th grade. Um, I just started talking to this very nice boy in art class, and we had a lot in common. So we would walk home together, and then we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And the extent of our relationship was school. I'd meet him at the library. I'd slip him notes. It wasn't like we didn't go out anywhere because I couldn't. But somebody told my mother, and she confronted me with this and gave me an ultimatum of I needed to choose the boy or I choose Jehovah. And I decided to choose the boy. And she was not happy about that. She said I was a bad influence on my younger sisters and that I would have to leave. Now, the part that I left out was I had a stepfather who was a pedophile. He was physically abusive as well, mentally abusive. And my mother was complacent. She allowed this to all happen. So did the Jehovah's Witness organization. They knew about his habits because he had preyed on many of the youngsters, young women and young men in the different, they called them congregations that we had gone to, and he was never punished because he kept saying he was sorry, and they kept working with him, trying to get him closer to Jehovah. And the thing was, is I could not see in my eyes how that they could say that that was okay. But me choosing to have a boyfriend who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness was not okay. I wasn't harming anyone. I wasn't hurting anyone. It was love and it was, friendship. So how could that be wrong? So in my mind, I was justified with my decision. Also, when I made that decision, I had to go visit the elders. So those are the men who run each individual congregation. So imagine you're 15, or it's your 15-year-old daughter, and you send her to go in a closed off room with three men, and they ask her sexually explicit questions about the relationship she had with this boy. The one who I told you I only held hands with, they asked me I was thoroughly embarrassed because I was like, I'm not answering these questions. They wanted to know in great detail what I had done and at what level. It was pornographic. To me, it was that really showed me how much that the so-called truth was a lie because I had done nothing wrong, but I was being accused in front of this group of men. I had no one to defend me. I had no parent there. I had no other adult. Um, but yet I was living in this horrible, horrible home that they knew about. That is what my book is about. It's about my life. Yeah. Yeah.
Quite shocking,
Yeah.
quite shocking. And
Yeah.
I imagine, like when you're talking, I was going back to when I was 15 and the confrontation of that, let alone being in a locked room with three men that were no doubt some of them three times your age. And
yes, they were all over 50. And I can't see how that any of them felt comfortable asking a girl those questions. But it's part of their handbook. That's the things they have to do.
part
And
of
they
that.
don't go to the police and report anything because it shames Jehovah. In fact, Australia is responsible for saving many, many Jehovah's Witness children because of the Royal Australian Commission that happened a few years ago. And the Jehovah's Witness leadership lied under oath. And actually, many Jehovah's Witnesses saw that and they left the cult all around the world. So I hear all the time people come to me and tell me, I left because of this.
Wow, I remember that very clearly.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
exposed on a massive
hmm
level. Yes.
yeah.
How does that, or how has that experience impacted you? Because I call it crazy making. You're calling it the lies of truth, and that really messes with your head at
hmm
adult level, let alone a child growing up where that behavior, that living with a full-time pedophile,
hmm
where in some ways is the norm. How does that,
Yeah.
how does that impact you?
I feel like for myself, that it was, my mother was supposed to protect me, right?
Correct.
She didn't protect me or my siblings really. Um, so I feel like I I may have had earlier on before therapy made a lot of wrong choices because I didn't know what relationships were supposed to be like. I didn't know what a man was supposed to be like. I did have a good example with my father, but not in a husband wife kind of relationship because he was my father. So I got the father daughter relationship. So I made wrong choices. And I also kind of buried it once I left. I didn't want to think about it anymore. I just wanted to say that was the past. Those people are bad. What they did was bad. That's not God. That's a lie, and move on. But as I since learned, that's not a good idea. You really have to address that trauma because it comes up later in your life in different ways. And it can come up in depression, it can come up in anger, it can come up in um, physical illness. In so many different ways it shows up. So,
Yes, it's for after being a psychotherapist for 16 years and hearing similar stories like yours, it's
hmm
quite insidious. And what happens, and you're saying it as well, it's kind of like it pops up and
hmm
in many forms, but quite traumatic, to put it mildly.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily associate what's happening with you with that trauma.
That's right.
You just think, okay, that just happened because, I'm having a bad day or, you know, something.
You
Yeah.
mentioned therapy before. How significant has that been in formulating your belief system and values today?
I I have always been a person who has a strong right and wrong values. Um, but the therapy helped me to accept that, yes, that happened to me because I compartmentalized it and I just kind of brushed it off. So I needed to teach my body and my brain that I didn't always need to be in the fast lane with all my adrenaline running in safety mode. One of my therapists said, Sally, you're driving all the way over in the middle of the road and you're going fast, and anything that happens, you crash and burn. She was right. I had no control because I was always in survival, protect myself mode. And I didn't even realize it. But after she said that, I started looking and understanding what she was talking about. So I had to learn how to get out of that survival mode.
Well, yes, it's a hypervigilance, isn't it? It's for
hmm
that forever watchful, for guards up, always aware,
Right.
always. And apart from
Any little thing that would happen, I would be triggered with PTSD of some kind, or I would just go into, complete meltdown mode or have a panic attack or, you know, just not be able to go out for a couple days. And it's like,
that's right, yeah, that,
yeah,
and I think that's the crazy making part that I'm talking about. That
yeah,
what you thought was true is not true. What you thought was real was not real, and it really messes hugely with just functioning I was going to say at a normal level, but you know, after being around on this planet for a long time, I'm not even sure what
yeah,
normal,
there is no normal level.
well, what does that,
Right?
yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the 16-year-old having to choose the boy or the family. And it's a big decision for anyone, let alone a 16-year-old. So what
Yeah. Well,
from
at the time, I didn't realize I was choosing between the boy and my family. She asked me, "It's you or it's the boy or Jehovah?" And I knew that Jehovah was a big lie. He wasn't God to me. He was made up. He was something that they created. He had no um, integrity. He could never keep a promise. There was so many things you had to do to stay in his good graces, and he kept changing the rules all the time. So it's like that's not that can't be God because that's not right. So that's what I was choosing between. I was choosing between that and a boy. I didn't know she was going to say, "You got to go." I
so
thought she was going to say, "Well, okay, you know." I just didn't know what she was going to say. I wasn't expecting that.
no. So then, when did you realize the magnitude of this? That this was actually right. You're out of this house. Life's going to be different. You won't see us again. Is that what happened?
Yeah, well, right after that, she got on the phone and called the elders, and then she drove me over to one of the kingdom halls, and I had to go in the room and have that traumatic experience. And then I came home, and my older sister didn't sleep in the room that night. She wouldn't talk to me. She's only a year older than me when we've always shared a room, right? And then my mom was able to get a hold of my father. He was in the Navy, so he wasn't home a lot. He was uh, either stationed somewhere overseas or he was out to sea. He was active military. So that I had to wait a little bit for him to come home to San Diego. And then she put me on a train and with a suitcase and sent me on my way. But the time I waited, nobody talked to me.
And
My little sisters weren't allowed to be around me. I didn't go to the meetings at the Kingdom Hall anymore because I didn't need to go. And my older sisters stayed away from me. So I went to school and came home.
how long did that go on for?
That was about, I want to say that was about a month because my dad was at sea, so he had to come home. I couldn't go down there and live by myself. So,
What did you
um,
learn? What do you remember about that time?
to me, it was kind of a blur. But what I remember most is I'm getting out of this. I can't wait to get out of this house. I cannot wait to be free from this. But I was also upset that, I saw my sister in the store one day after school. I had stopped into the little store to get something. I don't remember what it was, but she came right up to me and then walked around me. And I also had a really good friend who was a Jehovah's Witness girl, that saw me at the library, and she came up to me and she said, "You're such a liar." And then she walked away. So it was like, here was this friend that, we would have sleepovers and we talked about everything. And um, she just, that was the extent of our friendship. I had to love Jehovah. She didn't
Well,
care what I was enduring at home. She didn't care about that.
well, nobody did.
Nobody did. My older sister, she knew because she experienced it. She had way worse experiences than I did. And my mom slapped her one time so hard, my mom knocked one of my sister's teeth out when she was 14.
Wow. Just I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, you know,
Yeah,
I'm feeling it now, and
yeah,
you're recalling events from a long time ago. And
yeah.
I also know with my background as a therapist that what we're actually talking about is huge, huge.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're just sitting here talking about it. And in this moment, I want to respect that this is a massively life-changing, impactful event that you've actually come out the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is quite remarkable. Are you able to tell us then the journey forward? You got on that train, you've got your suitcase, you're pretty much on your own then.
Yeah. I went to, so that my family at that time lived in Northern California near San Francisco. So my dad lived in San Diego. So it was a completely different life. Because I was his only child. I'd never lived with my father. I'd probably spent at the most 2 weeks out of the year, maybe three. Um, Depending on the year, and some years not at all because he was stationed somewhere where I couldn't go. Um, but we always wrote each other letters and he would send me gifts. But this was the first time that I made choices for myself. Everything from what I was going to eat to what I was going to wear to my socks to, the kind of underwear I was going to be able to wear. I could wear earrings, whatever. I didn't have to have permission. I wasn't told that my clothing was attracting the wrong attention. Um, so it was a little weird at first because I was
I
like, aren't you going to
yes.
tell me I can't go hang out with my friends? What?
Well, that's
Aren't
right.
you going to ask me what I'm doing? It
That
was like, it
yes.
was normal. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
was your dad? Because that would have been also a big decision for him and quite a life-changing event for him as well. Suddenly he's got his 16-year-old daughter living with him. And, when that happens, you've got to talk to each other. You've got to, co-create on things. How was that for him? What do you imagine?
Well, my dad is the youngest of 12 and he has nine older sisters. So
You have lots of experience.
he was okay. Yeah. And he was very mellow and very low key. And me at the time, I didn't want to talk about stuff because I just I just wanted to move on. So I didn't need to talk about anything. So it was more about, I'm taking these classes in school. Um, can I take driver's ed? When he taught me how to drive, and um, it was just easy stuff. It was nothing complicated. We would take the dogs down to the beach and let them run on the beach, and just enjoy things. So
It must have been quite liberating.
yeah, yeah. Because I'd always been told as a child that anybody who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness was unhappy, that they had no point to their life, that they weren't serving Jehovah and they were going to die in Armageddon. And I was like, this is not what I'm experiencing out here.
I would imagine quite the opposite.
Yeah. Of course, I saw unhappy people, but I saw a lot of unhappy people in the Jehovah's Witnesses too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right. So,
Right? Not everybody is happy and,
no, that's right.
yeah.
That's a lie, isn't it? There you go. Truth, lie.
Yeah. Well, they call themselves the truth. So that was my play on words. They say they when they're speaking to each other, they go, "Are you in the truth?" We have So that's where my book title came from.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's
good.
not that the truth is really a lie. It's that the truth, in quotes, the Jehovah's Witnesses cult is what they call themselves, the one and
Yeah,
true religion.
one true.
Yeah.
Yes, I've actually heard
Yeah.
it before. I know
Yeah.
it.
What are their books they study from when they're first trying to draw you in is called The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life. So that's kind of something that they say to themselves all the time. We're in the truth, and they're not, and they joke about it.
Yes, right.
You're going to die in Armageddon. We're not.
Yes. And so in a way, for a period of time, you just park that. You
I
compartment.
parked it.
What happened to take you to therapy and to start to confront or understand or let go of whatever the words would be? What took you to therapy?
I got married and I had three sons. And then about the age 30, I started having what I didn't know at the time was panic attacks. And they became so strong that I had a hard time leaving the house. And what was actually happening was my ex-husband, who I was married to at the time, uh, he was becoming highly involved in a religious group that is now coming out a lot in the news about being a cult. It's something here. There was a TV show about the Duggar family. They had like 20 kids, and the sons of this family now are being arrested for being pedophiles. And it was supposed to be this great Christian group, but he started following their teachings and believings, and those became severe triggers for me. And that's what set it all off for me because I was saying, no, my kids are not doing that. No, I'm not having 10 kids. No, I'm not doing that. And he was telling me I was being disobedient. I was like,
Yes, there was big red flags.
all these red flags started popping up, and I started feeling very uncomfortable. And I didn't know why until the day he said, I don't think we're going to have Christmas because it's just a pagan holiday. And I went, that was like, no, that was what made me clear that this was not going the way. This was not the way I wanted to go. And I think I started talking to a therapist not long after that because my panic attacks um, were crippling at that point. And started, I don't remember the whole process because that was a while ago, but just started uncovering things. And kind of was like a big light bulb moment for me. Like, oh, I guess I should have dealt with this sooner.
Like here we are, we're smiling, and it's like it's
I know.
one of
I
those
have
things.
to I have to look back at it as sometimes it doesn't feel like it was my life, but I know that I'm in such a much better place than I ever was, and that I have three grown sons who are the joy of my life. And I have so much, so I can't look back and go, this happened to me. I use it to educate people on why you don't want to be in a cult.
Well,
Or
absolutely.
why, when you see something, you need to speak up.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. That's
yeah.
interesting. Just another thing before we move on that is always of interest to me with my background as a somatic psychotherapist. Our body knows, there's that power, isn't there, that never to be underestimated. Our
Hmm.
body really knows our mind.
Yeah, and you have to listen to it. I mean, it's true when they say, I felt it in my gut. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a woman say that, and then they don't listen to it, and something bad happens. And I'm like, that's your body has so many experiences, and it's telling you, don't, stop, stop, stop. And you're totally ignoring it. So yeah, listen to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That massive piece of wisdom shared
Mm.
right there. And the other thing is you help women write their stories. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do. So most of my ghostwriting and my writing my coaching other authors is not fiction. However, I have helped a few do exactly what I did, tell their story as fiction because it's healing for them, and they don't want to tell it as a true story like it really happened. Telling it as fiction, they can take it out of themselves and make it into a character and manipulate the characters the way they want so they can have it just it's a better feeling, better mental health kind of thing if they're not in a good place. And actually, speaking of that, I've heard of a lot of people who write for children who write these really happy books with loving families and the kids are just carefree. A lot of them came from very troubled backgrounds. And so they write about kind of what they wish their childhood had been.
Yes,
They
yeah.
take it and turn it into something. And these are really, really popular books. They're, um, the kids love them. But as far as me coaching women who've had similar experiences, um, yes, not necessarily that they've come out of, a cult background like me. Some of them have come out of abusive relationships, and they've taken what they've learned and they've turned it into some sort of business helping other people. So that sounds bad, but they are coaches or they're just in that industry of supporting other women. Um, and so they want to take what they've experienced and what they've learned and connect with other women and help them through the process. So,
Brilliant, isn't it? So
yeah.
you're helping them through your guidance to tell their own story and to share some of their experiences and learnings, I imagine,
Hmm.
with others.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to make them stop what they're doing as they get into a place mentally, and I don't make them, but I suggest to them that they find some of the happy points and write about those. And because life wasn't all 100% terrible for most people. There's happy points, and write about those. And they don't have to go in the book, but it's just to shift their mind a little bit away from all the negative. Um, because the same thing for a reader. A reader doesn't want to read a book where it's like all like one
No,
thing after
no.
another. Does this person get a break? You have to give your reader a break too, so they can breathe and take it in.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. What's your experience working with women? What from the beginning to when things come together and they finally get to publish, what's that like for you?
I really enjoy it. I enjoy mostly like in the beginning of the process, they usually come to me with, um, I want to write a book about my life. Like, okay, tell me about it. I feel like I'm a therapist sometimes. And I tend to sometimes when they're talking, I can visualize, like I said, a lot of things in my head, and I can give them a pinpoint or help anchor them a little bit better than what they came to me with and give them a story arc. Um, and then we're working on it, and usually within like the second or third session, they already tell me that they can see how this book is going to turn out. They feel so much better. They feel encouraged. They feel like this is something they can do, and they're glad that they finally decided to go ahead and do it.
In their
The
third session.
best part is when it's I get to see an actual physical copy of it. So,
That's amazing. And you're right. I can see why you say I feel like a therapist. How important
yeah,
how important do you think personal development is in people's lives?
100%. I think everybody has, no matter how perfect you think you are or how good you think you are, you can always get better at something. There's always growth and change that needs to happen. And, you know, I mean, I look back 10 years ago at some of the things that we did as humans that now it's like, yeah, we would never do that.
Well, yes.
You know,
Yeah, that
things we say and things, how we talk to people. Even with my own kids, I've learned I'm not supposed to say I'm proud of you. I'm
that's an
supposed to say you really accomplished what great work you did. Because saying I'm proud of you turns it on me, not them. So I learned that in some of my reading. But
how accomplished you are. Yes,
yeah,
yeah, that's beautiful. Well said.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
right. I believe that we continue to evolve. It's a matter of personal choice. I feel like
yeah,
I'll be evolving and changing until the day I die, but that's not
yeah.
everyone's belief.
I feel like if you don't, you age yourself and you stay stuck somewhere. Um, I only say that because I date and I date men, and a lot of them are stuck back in the 1980s with their thinking. And um, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me.
It's
You don't want to change or grow. You just are happy the way you are. And it's like, okay,
That's right. It's
enjoy it.
well, yes, I think I don't know, but I was thinking about that. It's kind of like looking back into the past, isn't it? When you have those experiences, you go, "Oh, hang on a minute." You need to do a bit of a contextual check, don't you, for the
Yeah,
here and now, and
yeah.
be fully present, and I guess know what your intentions are. And I can see how the whole adult dating, let's call it that, experience takes people away from themselves time and
Yeah,
time again because
yeah.
of not recognizing what you're saying to be true and recognizing that, oh, hang on a minute. No, 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 this is not the path I want to be on.
My
It's,
gut is telling me to run away from you. Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah. But back to your question too about, I don't want to say self-help, but personal development. I forgot where my brain was going with that. But
I said, how
I,
important is it for you?
oh,
And
it's important. But I also feel like um it doesn't have to be a big book either. It can be a short little book that If it reaches your reader right, they will walk away with something life-changing. And I think that's a wonderful accomplishment. If I was writing a self-help book, it's like, I would like you to take away one thing and change something.
How important do you think that is?
I think it's very important. Um, because like I said, if you're not changing, you're stagnant.
And
You're
when you're
just
stagnant,
stagnant.
you die, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. And you can change your perspective on something. You can believe something you've believed for your entire life, and then suddenly realize, oh, wait, that was wrong. I read this book, I listened to this podcast, and now my perspective has changed. And it's
Yes,
okay. It's okay.
that's right. And I think
Yeah.
perspective is the word that you're talking about. That,
Yeah.
well, in a time when we have an overload of information at our fingertips, we can listen, we can read, we can talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's my observation there's not that much talking going on currently, but there's a lot of information
There's
overload.
a lot of information, and that's why, you have to be careful too where you get your information from. A lot of people just go to the chat AI and ask it questions, and that's not a human. That doesn't have feelings and thoughts. It has no experience. Um, I tend to not always go with the crowd, having a cult background and living here in the United States. We have a big crowd that I totally do not agree with. Um, so I'm careful who I go to and who I get my information from and who I listen to, because I believe what you put in your mind and your heart is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. What makes your heart sing, Sally?
Oh, a good cup of coffee.
I wasn't expecting that.
A lot of things, I just go for a walk and I just see the beauty all around me. There's a pretty cloud that looks like a puppy, seeing, little kids playing in the park and just being kids, a really good song. I like to go listen to music. So hearing someone play and go, I wish I could sing or play an instrument, um, beating one of my friends at a card game. It's simple for me. Simple things are joyful. Everyday moments are joyful.
Yes, I love that. Every day
Yeah.
moments are joyful.
Yeah.
It's a it's a lovely, lovely way to end our conversation. And you're quite a remarkable woman, and it's so
Thank
powerful
you.
to hear your story. And I love that you're a guiding light to give voice to other women. And I do wish you well with your writing, your books. You're already 5 books up, I think, if I counted correctly. And
Yeah.
I honestly, Sally, I wish you so much success, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It's just been a real pleasure and a delight.
Well, thank you for having me. The time went by really fast.
It certainly did. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us on The Richness of Our Lives. If today's conversation stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social media, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to step into your own bold journey, join our vibrant Cheer Squad. We meet weekly for coaching and connection. Until next time, continue to embrace the richness of your life. I'm Mary Scott, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.